America spent decades building the world's most powerful economy. But what if some of its biggest vulnerabilities were hiding in plain sight? Canada controls a resource essential to American agriculture. Europe holds trillions of dollars inside US markets, while supplying critical technologies needed for semiconductors and artificial intelligence. As trade tensions grow, policymakers are quietly examining how much leverage America's allies really possess. Your roadmap to the latest in auto. Welcome to Highway Herald. Here are 6 developments that could reshape agriculture, technology, manufacturing, and global investment far faster than many expected. Number 6. America's potash dependency comes into focus. One of the least discussed yet most important resources in North America is potash. While it rarely makes headlines, modern agriculture depends on it to produce fertilizer that helps maintain crop yields and food production. Without reliable potash supplies, farming costs rise, harvests suffer, and consumers eventually feel the impact through higher food prices. The challenge for the United States is its heavy reliance on imports. More than 90% of American potash demand is sourced from abroad, with Canada supplying roughly 80% of that total. Saskatchewan has become the global powerhouse of potash production, home to major operations run by Nutrien, Mosaic, Compass Minerals, K+S, and the massive BHP-backed Janssen project. For American farmers already facing rising operating costs, this dependence represents a strategic vulnerability that cannot be replaced quickly. But supply dominance is only part of the story. What makes this situation even more significant is that America's allies are increasingly aware of these dependencies, and some have begun examining how much leverage they actually create. Number 5. Germany examines critical supply chain leverage. Europe is no longer simply observing America's vulnerabilities. Reports indicate Germany has been studying sectors where the United States remains heavily dependent on foreign supply chains, with potash emerging as one of the most notable examples. German company K+S operates the Bethune mine in Saskatchewan, placing Germany within a critical agricultural network. But the review goes far beyond fertilizer. European officials have reportedly examined American dependencies involving pharmaceuticals, industrial chemicals, semiconductor equipment, advanced manufacturing technologies, and AI infrastructure. As geopolitical tensions grow, these interconnected supply chains are becoming increasingly important, potentially influencing agriculture, automotive manufacturing, technology, and defense industries for years ahead. And while Europe studies America's weak spots, Washington has also been searching for ways to reduce its dependence on Canadian supplies, a search that has led to one of the most controversial developments in this story. Number 4. Washington's search for alternative potash supplies. One of the most controversial developments involves Belarus. Reports indicate the Trump administration eased certain sanctions connected to Belaruskali, Belarus's state-owned potash producer, following negotiations tied to political prisoner releases. The move sparked debate because Belarus remains closely aligned with Russia. Some analysts view Belarusian potash as a potential alternative to Canada's dominant supply network. However, critics argue that replacing dependence on Canada with reliance on a politically sensitive supplier could create new risks. Agricultural groups also warn that disruptions involving Canadian potash would likely raise fertilizer costs, increase farming expenses, and eventually push food prices higher across the United States. But fertilizer may not be the most powerful source of leverage in this relationship. An even larger pressure point involves something that moves global markets every day: investment capital. Number 3. Canada's $733 billion investment advantage. While fertilizer receives much of the attention, investment capital may be an even more powerful source of leverage. Canadian pension funds and institutions hold roughly $733 billion invested across the American economy, spanning infrastructure, transportation, technology, manufacturing, logistics, and real estate. For decades, this arrangement benefited both countries. But Canada is increasingly encouraging investment at home. Prime Minister Mark Carney has promoted initiatives focused on critical minerals, artificial intelligence, energy infrastructure, defense production, and Arctic development. Even a modest shift of capital could redirect tens of billions of dollars into Canadian projects. And Canada is not alone in reconsidering where future investment dollars should flow. Before we reveal the final two developments, take a moment to subscribe to Highway Herald. If you're enjoying these deep dives into the forces shaping the automotive industry, technology, manufacturing, and global markets, your support helps us continue bringing you the latest insights and updates. Now, let's move into one of the biggest leverage points of all. If Canada's influence measures in the hundreds of billions, Europe's potential leverage operates on an entirely different scale, measured in the trillions. Number 2, Europe's multi-trillion-dollar financial influence. European institutions collectively hold about $10.4 trillion in American equities, along with significant positions in U.S. government bonds and corporate debt. For decades, these investments reflected confidence in the American economy. Today, however, some policymakers are discussing whether diversification could become a strategic option. Even gradual changes could impact borrowing costs, market stability, and investor confidence across major industries. Europe also possesses powerful regulatory tools through legislation affecting digital platforms and technology companies. Firms such as Amazon, Microsoft, Meta, Alphabet, and OpenAI all maintain major exposure to European markets. The result is a deeply interconnected relationship where financial markets, technology, and economic policy increasingly overlap. Yet money isn't the only strategic asset shaping the future. Some of the most important leverage points are hidden inside the technologies powering artificial intelligence, semiconductors, and advanced manufacturing. Number 1, the technology supply chain few people notice. The United States leads many software and AI innovations, but critical hardware depends heavily on allied suppliers. Dutch company ASML manufactures the advanced lithography systems needed to produce cutting-edge semiconductors. German firms like Zeiss and Trumpf provide essential optics and manufacturing technologies that help keep chip production running. The dependence extends beyond semiconductors. Artificial intelligence growth requires industrial equipment, automation systems, power infrastructure, and engineering expertise supplied by European companies. Pharmaceutical supply chains show similar patterns, with European manufacturers playing major roles in medicines used across America. These realities reveal how modern economies have become deeply interconnected, making supply chain resilience a growing strategic concern. And when all of these pieces are viewed together, a much larger picture begins to emerge. Final verdict: the age of economic interdependence is being tested. The larger story here is not simply about tariffs, fertilizer, or financial markets. It is about the growing realization that major economies depend on each other far more than many leaders once believed. Canada plays a critical role in supporting American agriculture. Europe remains deeply involved in advanced technology, pharmaceuticals, and global finance. Meanwhile, trillions of dollars continue flowing through interconnected investment networks. As governments increasingly identify these dependencies, economic relationships are becoming strategic assets as much as commercial partnerships. The decisions made over the next few years could influence agriculture, automotive manufacturing, artificial intelligence, energy development, and global investment for decades to come. Now we'd love to hear from you. Do you think America should reduce its dependence on foreign supply chains, even if it increases costs? Which vulnerability is most significant? Potash, investment capital, or semiconductor technology? How do you think these shifting economic relationships could affect the automotive industry in the years ahead? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. If you enjoyed this analysis, be sure to subscribe to Highway Herald and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest vehicle updates, industry developments, and automotive insights. Thanks for watching. You can now check out any of the videos on the screen. There's more exciting and informative content waiting for you.